Welcome to Confessions of a Terrible Leader, where real leaders share the raw truth about the lessons they learned the hard way so you don't have to. Join our host, Lacey Nelson, founder of Transcend Leadership Collective and former terrible leader. On this podcast, we invite you to step into the confessional and get real with the messy stories and behind-the-scenes reality of leadership. Let's get to it.
Hello, listeners and watchers, and welcome back to Confessions of a Terrible Leader. I'm your host, and let us not forget, former terrible leader, Lacey Nelson. I have Dr. Benjamin Ritter here with us today. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I am,
of course,
ready to confess all of my sins and
You're here. You're up for it. So Dr. Benjamin Ritter is the author of Becoming Fearless, a bestseller on Amazon and some other lists as well, and is the owner and founder of Live for Yourself Consulting.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, I am really excited to jump into this conversation today. Can you tell the audience what your degree is in?
Which one?
Right. So, yeah, all of them.
Like,
you have a lot.
I'm a little bit of a forever learner. I do think if I did it again, though, I would invest a lot more time in the experience, less the certificate or letters.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently got a doctorate of education in organizational leadership. I say recently, like it was yesterday, but it's a little over 7 years ago. And then I also have an MBA in entrepreneurial management, because when you want to start a business, but you're not sure what to do, go get a graduate degree. And I have an MPH in health policy administration, which actually is still a very strong passion of mine. My first career was in health policy, and then sadly in healthcare. There's a little bit of a sad origin story there. And then initially, I thought my degree was in soccer. I was going to be a professional soccer player, but that didn't happen. So I ended up having to get a business degree because my dad said, always get a backup.
Yep.
But while I was getting my business degree, I realized I had a passion for nutrition, hence the health policy and healthcare.
Okay.
I was going to become a nutritionist or dietitian, but then about a little over halfway through my major, they canceled it. So then I ended up getting a marketing degree, because that's what you do also when you don't know what you want to do in life. Sorry for anyone that has a marketing degree.
You have a fascinating and winding path, which is probably not unlike a lot of people. I just got back from a conference, and I think every exec that was on the stage from some major organizations, names like Boeing, Microsoft, companies we all recognize, as much as we tout planning, their career path kind of built itself. But what was really interesting was there was obviously a very common thread that followed them through their career path that they were able to identify and follow, which is curiosity, desire to be a lifelong learner, taking initiative, knowing that even if they didn't know what they wanted, they knew they wanted something more. Does that resonate with your own pathway? I mean, you don't just wake up one day and say, you know what? I think I want to found a consulting firm. At least I don't think you did. Maybe
Some
you did.
people, I've met very few. I think it's under 10%, probably under 5% of people that I think do the thing that they're going to do for the rest of their life first.
Yeah.
At least in my
I would
experience.
agree.
And that's why on LinkedIn, where I spend a lot of my lovely social time, I have a little entry for everything and anything in terms of my career, like what I've done, from working at a fast food joint to, that almost founding that coffee company, to being a live cast model for a Civil War museum, which basically means I get plaster poured on me. And so I have the shape of my face and my torso that they can then use for all of their mannequins in their museum.
Yeah, I would not say you probably saw that coming.
No, not at all. But I think I took on this task or this goal of exploration because when I lost soccer, I didn't really know what I wanted to do and nothing really felt right. Like sitting behind a desk, just the idea of what the normal corporate 9-to-5 reality, I didn't understand that as what work was.
Right.
I think that was really foundational in teaching me to just be a little non-traditional and to create a career path that I think works for me.
Yeah.
The problem is I experienced a lot of career disappointments over time. And I think a lot of us, even just from one loss of a job or a toxic leader, that can leave you with a lot of career trauma. And so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Speak to that. Tell us more about that.
The things that could motivate you or might seem interesting actually stop. And we end up, instead of leveraging our day, actually trying to hide from our day. And so we become a victim of our career. And then that ends up leading us to not making the most of each and every single day and realizing where our strengths are, what our skills are, what our interests are, or even just building bridges towards that next potential job or the thing that really can fulfill us. because we just become so scared and hurt from each and every single day, even from the people around us, that we withdraw in ourselves and end up ruining any chance for opportunity. And that's basically what happened to me in my career.
I would love to know, how do you define and understand the difference between a leader who is truly toxic, because they definitely exist, and a leader who is trying their best but just massively underskilled? It doesn't mean they're not causing damage, but what's the delineating factor between toxic versus just underskilled, in over their head, and they need some help, but they're not toxic?
Simplest answer is one works for you or with you and one works against you.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I'm just thinking of the underskilled leader, the one that might say something the wrong way because they don't know exactly how to land the information, or the person that maybe doesn't realize that you need more attention or recognition. And so they're missing things that could help you feel better about your job, but they're not actively preventing you from doing the things that you could be accountable for from your career, like showing up, asking for certain projects you're interested, asking for recognition, having a productive conversation. So it's kind of like you need some personal resilience in your day to day. And it might take multiple conversations, but can you work with your leader instead of them now demanding things from you, completely brushing you off, not listening to you, yelling at you, swearing at you, calling you names, not taking credit for your work? There are
Right.
active ways to work against you as a leader. And the problem was, when I was in healthcare, when I was surrounded by toxic leadership, it was a combination. It was a combination of leaders not having leadership skills, sitting in a meeting until 11 o'clock at night, changing a sentence on a PowerPoint slide with 10 people in the room because you think you need that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's toxic leadership. I think that's poor leadership. And you can set a boundary and end up fixing that. Like I did. I said, I need to go home at 5 o'clock every day. If you need me to stay late for a meeting, you put it on my calendar at least 2 days in advance. Great. Awesome. Toxic leader goes, no, you do that, you lose your job. The leader that works with you says, yes, okay, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, toxic leadership is standing at my desk when I come in from a hour lunch instead of a 45-minute lunch, because I was using my lunches to go to the gym, standing at my desk, literally waiting for me and saying, where were you? You need to be here no matter what. Kind of toxic leadership. Another example of that is, well, I'd love your opinion. Toxic leadership or just lack of leadership skills. I'm in the office with my leader. I'm kind of disengaged. I know this. I'm not happy in my job.
Yeah. Is this the same job with the guy that was waiting for you at the desk?
Yeah, that was actually the VP at the time, and she was my direct boss. I was kind of reporting to the CEO and the VP of nursing at the time. And I'm disengaged. I'm not very attentive, but I am a high performer. I do all my work. I get it done. I'm just not challenged. And I myself, I've withdrawn being the victim of my current situation. I know that I'm at fault a lot of ways. And she goes, Ben, you know what? Like, what's wrong? And I go, nothing. Like, she kind of opened the door and I didn't take it. And she's like, well, you don't really seem happy. Okay. Kind of a good start to a question.
Yeah.
And then she goes, maybe you should smile more. And then to add on to the cake, she goes, like Kevin, you should start acting more like Kevin. He's so I was like, okay, is it poor leadership skills or toxic leadership? I think it's a combination in that instance, but it also was my fault. When I look back in terms of the fact that I was actively disengaged, actually costing the company money by going into work every single day. But because of that, missing out on opportunities, not managing up, but then surrounded by traditional authoritarian style of leadership,
right,
that I could have also managed up to. And when I did decide to do that, I started changing my career, but it did at least shine the light on, say, oh, we need to fix this. We need to fix the work environment for people that are actively disengaged, and we need to help leaders grow. And that was kind of the start that led me to where I am. But what do you think? Do you think that's toxic leadership or just kind of leaders not having the skills?
I think it's both. The way that we talk about toxic leadership is once someone has actively told you, when you do X, Y, Z, explicitly, clearly, it causes me a whole lot of harm in these ways. Don't use the language like that, but essentially that's what you're saying. So if you were to tell your boss very point blank, when you are standing at the desk waiting for me and you're not communicating with me what the expectation is, or if the expectation is always shifting of when I'm supposed to be here, when I'm not, what's reasonable, what's not reasonable, and I need more communication from you, and they know that because you have explicitly communicated it, and they keep doing exactly the same behavior with no attempt to change, no checking in with you, that's when it crosses the line to toxicity. Once they know and they choose to do nothing about it, when you cannot deny that it has been communicated and yet they're still choosing to either continue a behavior or lack of action that needs to happen, that's when we now cross the line into intentional causing of harm. And I think For me, that is where the toxic lie. I mean, there's some classic toxic behaviors. There's 5 that are undeniably, if you do this, it's absolutely toxic. But a lot of this stuff is super nuanced. And really, it comes down to, do they know? And if they know and they don't care and they're doing nothing to meet you part way, that's when you have now entered toxic land. What are your thoughts?
I love that definition. And I think there's generally a gap when I'm working as a leader coach or executive coach with an individual that thinks they made it clear.
Yes.
Or that the leader should know. And so they're not actually putting all their cards on the table due to fear or maybe just a miscommunication in terms of what should be implied by what I say or how I act.
Right. You should think like I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would love to bridge that gap a little bit more. And I think that generally, that's the whole concept of managing up, which is
yes.
A lot of times people think they need to influence, they need to persuade. And no, you just need to communicate. You just need to literally say the thing that you need, then write it down and then send it to them and then remind them of it because they have a lot going on and not be so deterred from the fact that maybe you shared an idea in a meeting once and they said, yeah, thanks, great, but we're going to go this way. And you felt dismissed. So now you're never going to share another idea in a meeting ever again. Or maybe you don't like it when you get random phone calls. And so you kind of hint at it, but don't really write it down or share it. We need to be more explicit in the work environment. Problem is, generally, you're trying to do that to someone in an authority position.
Yes.
That has control over your job, your livelihood, the food on the table. And I think one of the things that has really been different about me in my career, which is when I kind of hinted at that entrepreneurial founding and the fact that I wanted to be a soccer player and I was less traditional, is I've never had one income stream ever in my life, even when I worked for a company. I think we need to somehow figure out what would make us feel safe. Is it saving money? Is it networking all the time so we have job opportunities? Is it applying for jobs and interviewing for jobs? Whatever it is, we need to somehow take away this idea that our leader controls our livelihood. Because if we do feel that way, or the perception that we have to treat them as a certain authoritarian figure, then we're never going to be able to have those explicit conversations.
Yeah. And I would say on the flip side, the leaders, society's changing always. Society's always in flux, right? But one of the things that I'm finding when we're working with executives, especially if they're a little bit older, there is a lack of competency to motivate people that have other options. Not all leaders. This certainly isn't a blanket statement. But I'm seeing a lot of people that are in their 50s and 60s, and they're starting to think about handing off the leadership or at least having a succession plan in place. They are working with a workforce, especially people that are coming in their late 20s, mid 20s up through mid 30s. They figured this out. There's so many people that have figured out the freedom in multiple income streams, and it's easier than ever before, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but to go out and figure out ways to hustle and make money, thanks to all kinds of options we have now with our interconnectedness. And I think a lot of leaders in the higher levels are kind of at a loss when, what do I do when my golden handcuffs aren't working anymore? What do you think from your experience?
Well, you just bring them into the office again. So I know we kind of sharing what's happening, but yeah, leaders are struggling, but also because leaders haven't really had leadership training. And
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think we overcomplicate things a little bit. I don't know how to say this because I'm worried about how they're going to react. Well, what if you just say, hey, I'm a little worried about how I'm saying this because I haven't really had training in it, but I feel like I need to share this with you.
Yeah.
Who needs training to do that?
Right.
We were talking about from the employee side, but from the leader side, how do we define leadership and what do we see as our roles? Is it as a manager to submit pay, hours and such?
Right.
And performance reviews? Or is it to really be there to support and create an environment to help your employees grow and to help them feel safe so that we can do these types of things? I think we overemphasize this need of leadership skills when we haven't really taught people how to work or how to create an environment that is positive to work in, which I guess that is leadership skills. But
yeah,
I do think that people are figuring out that they don't have to play the game as much, but there is still a lot of fear in the workplace. And I think maybe I'm a little biased towards that because of the people that I work with, but it's still, I think, a small percentage of people that have figured out that they don't need their employer. Especially in this market today.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing in people. Who is your ideal client? Who are the people that are coming to you? What are their challenges? What are you helping them walk through?
Generally, for self-consulting, we provide career coaching for leaders at every stage of their career journey. So if that's, I don't know what I want to do, to I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to make it happen, to I know what I want to do, but it doesn't feel right anymore, or I'm in my career and I'm a leader and I'm just kind of confused. How do I become a better leader? How do I grow in my career? Ultimately, it's dealing with a couple of different aspects of an individual's professional life, from a lack of clarity, a lack of confidence, and a lack of control. Generally, control is like your environment and intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Then I do enterprise consulting. So I'll do like leadership development workshops, assessments, executive coaching for broader leadership programs. Most of my work is one-on-one coaching. And what I'm really seeing, and this is probably because of my marketing, is just a lot of people that are afraid of judgment, afraid of failure. They feel hopeless in their career. Maybe again, even just one negative experience in your career can destroy how we perceive work.
Oh, it can mess with our mindset big time.
If we don't know what we want to do, if we doubt our skills, our capabilities, our direction, then we lose confidence in ourselves. We stop having these constructive conversations.
Right.
Which makes it even more important for a leader to create a safe environment for their employee to grow.
Yeah.
So generally, it's kind of like this seesaw of, am I a leader coach right now? Or am I a career coach right now? Generally, it's both, because if someone wants to grow as a leader in their career, they also realize that they need to make a change in their career.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I am seeing. People are afraid, hence becoming fearless. They lack confidence in themselves, and they don't feel empowered to go after what they want in their career. And they don't feel also accountable at the same time. So I've seen a lot of people kind of give the responsibility to their organization or to their leaders.
Yes, that's such an important point. It is a two-way street. You have to own your part of it and communicate. And just like you said, we overcomplicate it. Are you just directly asking for what you want? If you've never done that, then that's on you.
Kind of like equate it to relationships. Like, that generally the relationships you're in are going to not work out. Like, if as we date throughout our career, eventually this relationship's going to end. We're going to find a new one. Generally, it's when we're ready, when we're a little bit older, and when we decide to change some values around. And a job, it just by default is not going to last or supposed to last as you grow and increase your skills. And so if where you're at is temporary, then why are we making it feel like it's everything? And if something isn't working out, there are other options.
Yes.
It's like staying in a bad relationship.
Yeah.
Part of you is gaining something from this. Like, what is it?
Right.
So I like to make those kind of comparisons, because sometimes people can understand that from the relationship side, but they can't see it from the work side, just because of how they've been taught they need to work, or how they've seen their parents work, or just like with relationships, or how their friends work.
Yes.
It's very interesting. I think we don't give enough credit to how much our career relates to how it's supposed to change and how much can impact us.
Oh, yeah. I really love drawing that parallel. It probably brings it into sharp relief pretty quickly for some of your clients when it's phrased that way. Ben, I'm guessing this wisdom was not easily come by for you. You've even spoken to your own journey and the ups and the downs. Now's the time where I invite you into the confessional to give us your story of your own look back and go, man, I did not do that well when I was leading others. What is your experience and how does it impact the way that you lead today?
Yeah, so I love the chance that I've worked internal, and not just as a coach or as a consultant or a founder. And I was the head of talent development of an organization, built a team, and I taught myself a very valuable lesson. We had some varying personalities on the team. I did a lot of really great things, I think. But one of the things that I did poor was I felt like I had to protect my employees from my manager. I was the filter, I was the shield. And I softened all the blows, and I watched the bandwidth, and made sure they weren't overworked. And I realized that I did a huge disservice to my team, and they missed out probably on certain levels of visibility. They missed out on building resilience. They missed out on kind of realizing what the organization really was like and what it needed from them. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had one employee that was getting very, very disengaged with the project. And I was kind of like being the conduit. Like, oh, it's okay. Like, this is what the CEO wants. This is what the leader wants. Like, well, it's just got to do this. And I had a different level of resilience and like, just get the job done than this individual. And they kept pulling back because they felt like their autonomy was being taken away. So I was treating them in a way where they weren't having the conversations with the CEO or with the chief executives about the project.
Yeah.
And so they kept pulling away even more when I should have said, I'm going to step back and let you jump in this meeting and I'll see you later. And why don't you report on me about that? And then with another employee who had more emotional reactions to things, I gave this individual a huge amount of space to vent, to think.
Yeah.
Kind of like catered and kind of softened the blows from the manager, from feedback, from directly from top, when I should have just been like, go meet with them.
Yes.
I'll see you. I'll check in next week.
See you on the other side.
Yeah. At one point, I realized I was doing that, and I tried to make that connection because I got told from them to give this direct feedback to this person. And I was like, well, it's coming from you. You should give that feedback to that person.
Right.
I'm not going to play telephone here.
Yeah.
They need to hear it from you. They need to know expectations. They need to know that they're not meeting those expectations because I'm leading them differently than you are leading them, than you want to lead them.
Right.
And I lost that battle 3-1 because my delivery, though, of that feedback was very different than their delivery of that feedback.
Right.
And I needed to, instead of use my style, I think be a little bit more transparent on what the style of leadership was within the organization for them too.
I like that.
I'm going to make this even bigger. I think too often leaders think they have to be the shield for their employees and protect them in terms of how much work they can take on, to how feedback is provided. It kind of becomes us or them mentality, which is very dangerous within an organization itself. No matter what your leadership style is, really kind of needs to be as direct as possible in terms of, hey, this is exactly what the leader is saying. Oh, you need to go meet with this leader. Instead of trying to change it to filter it through you, I think that would create more of a consistent and aligned culture and better expectations than the organization itself, especially when that leader leaves. And now that employee has that person as a direct manager,
right,
or has to deal with that leadership style moving forward.
Right. That's insightful. One of the things I find in especially people that are very protective of their staff, of their people, they take on the ownership of the emotional response of their employees. And I don't think that's helpful for any of us, as you illustrated. One of the things that I think we all can get better at, and this is what I'm taking out of what I heard, so if this wasn't the intention, let me know. But getting comfortable sitting with people in high emotion and not feeling like we have to fix it or make their emotions better or go away. It's okay to just sit with an employee and say, I know you're really angry about this, and it's okay that you're really angry. And we're not changing anything about the way this is going to move forward. For some of us, that comes more naturally. For others, it takes a lot of work to be able to sit with that level of intense emotion in another person and not feel like you have to make it better or that somehow your primary job is to calm them down.
Yep.
This is a great conversation. Ben, what would you like to make sure that our listeners take away from this conversation today? As many of them are in various stages of their own journey. We have people that are informal leaders that are very influential and are climbing the ladder, whatever that might look like in their own life and figuring that out for themselves, all the way to people sitting in the C-suite that I know listen to this podcast. What message do you have for them today that you're like, if you guys take away one thing, take this with you?
Whenever we hold ourselves back from doing something we want in our career, we are giving away our power, our time, our experiences, our growth. And the whole idea of becoming fearless is to reinterpret fear as information. It's just a data point in the journey that you want to actually take for yourself. So where do you need to be more accountable to yourself and what's happening for the results in your career? And where do you need to feel more empowered? Where do you feel like you can't do something? Can't is a great signal for some exploration and to realize that there's a limiting belief in your life, in your job, and your career. So think about that and maybe do some reflection. And hey, if something comes up, send me a message, reach out.
Excellent. And perfect segue. Thank you. Where's the best place for people to connect with you? We'll drop all of your links. We'll drop your book link, everything in the show notes. But where's the best place if they're like, I want to connect with that guy? Where do they find you?
So first go to liveforyourselfconsulting.com, liveforyourselfconsulting.com. You can find out how to book some time with me. But also I'm active on LinkedIn. It's probably the only social media platform that I hang out on. And so Dr. Benjamin Ritter, send me a connection request. Let me know that you heard me here. And better yet, send a screenshot that you left a review for this podcast and you might get a free little gift from me.
Oh, excellent. I like you, Dr. Benjamin. Thank you. That is amazing. And I couldn't be more thankful for your time today, for your expertise, for sharing your knowledge, your journey, your vulnerability, all of the things that not everyone's willing to do. So thank you for that. And I look forward to connecting with you personally as well and continuing to follow your journey and what you have going on and learning from you. So thank you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Well, thank you so much. And I feel like a weight is off my shoulders. I have confessed and I'm going to go enjoy this feeling.
Excellent. Excellent. Until next time, leaders, go manage like a leader.
Thanks for listening to Confessions of a Terrible Leader. If you're feeling brave and have your own terrible leader story that you'd like to share, head over to transcendleadershipcollective.com/podcast to fill out a guest application. We'd love to hear from you. Confessions of a Terrible Leader is hosted by Lacey Nelson and produced and edited by Fixation Point Productions. Music is by Leif Olson and Mary Scott from the band The Number of Months. Confessions of a Terrible Leader is a free leadership resource offered by Transcend Leadership Collective. If you are ready to refuse the limits of average leadership and join the leadership revolution, visit transcendleadershipcollective.com to check out our offerings for engaging workshops, strategic planning, and more. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. And until next time, go manage like a leader.